Thanks to Ecovacs for sponsoring this episode, with the Dbot X1 Omni redefining what is possible in home cleaning.
This apartment is in a heritage listed building. I think sort of circa 1890 it was built, but in the 80s it was really badly renovated. It had sort of been all chopped up and changed and divided into sort of small little rooms. When we got the project, we realised there was this really amazing opportunity for this journey from the street level down to the apartment and to open the apartment up to what's quite a spectacular view over the Sydney CBD. The really interesting thing about this apartment is it's situated below the street level. So this old terrace, which had been divided up, had one house or an apartment that sits over two levels at the street, and then this subfloor level, which Woon, was its own little apartment, and it was quite dark. One of the biggest challenges with this apartment was how do you open up and draw light right into the depth of it, but still keep it as a functional one-bedroom apartment. And also how do we kind of look to reinstate some of the heritage qualities. So the apartment's located in a suburb called Potts Point, which is right next to Sydney CBD. The actual suburb's really bustling. It's got a lot of cafes, bars, restaurants. And the really interesting thing about this suburb is it falls quite steeply on one side, which opens up views to the city. That's one of the reasons we can have a basement apartment that also has an amazing view. Our brief for the project was to reimagine the apartment as a more luxurious and spacious and exciting one bedroom. And they wanted to have the flexibility that it could either be used as a kind of a permanent place to live, or also for short-term rentals, and that really drove a lot of the design decisions. Combined with that, we needed to keep the fabric of the building intact, and we couldn't make really significant changes to the layout just because of the heritage listing. So one of the reasons the client came to us, and something that we were really keen to do, and the client was keen on as well, is figure out ways to maximise the space and do that in terms of not just the layout and being really clever and efficient about how we use it, but also increasing the sense of space. Being able to see the whole 49 square metres wherever you're kind of standing in a way, and also increase the sense of space by celebrating the high ceilings and using light materials to just bounce a lot of light through the whole apartment. We took a reductive design approach to this apartment. We really wanted to pare it back to just the elements that needed to be in the space to make it function. So entering this apartment, you walk down close to 2 flights of stairs below the street level. The hallway is only partly enclosed, and as you come down the hallway, you've got your bedroom on your right side, but you never really notice that. Instead, you're drawn towards the living space, which is bright and has this view. And there's a little quirk in the joinery of the kitchen. That angle sort of, makes you turn and really see that view and that outlook. In the living space, we've got the kitchen, which feels like a piece of furniture. We've got the dining room, we've got the lounge room. It's all kind of a little bit floating and flexible. So even though the room dimensions aren't that big, the high ceilings really make the space feel great. And then on the back end of the apartment, kind of the traditional lean-to, which we needed to keep, and we needed to keep the bathroom there. We redesigned the space, we heightened up some of the laundry, appliance cupboards, ovens, fridges all, and there's a bathroom on the end, which the client was really keen to make feel luxurious. Along with the reductive approach in terms of planning, we also had a really pared back material palette. That was for 2 reasons. One, it's to create a nice light and bright space, and the other reason was just to create a real sense of calm. The selection of materials was just oak floors, and we've got some oak furniture and joinery, and then a marble tiles which sort of form the kitchen bench, splash, and also the bathroom. And everything else is white and light. The materials that we did use, we wanted to have longevity and be hard wearing. And a lot of the thought went into selecting products that had those attributes. And part of that is for a great user experience, but also even more significantly is for the sustainable outcomes that we get from not just ripping out our apartments and revamping them. Inner city living and living in smaller spaces is a really sustainable way for our cities to develop. Having a smaller footprint has a twofold impact on creating sustainable outcomes. Partly the build cost and the build footprint, the embodied energy in the design and construction is far lower if you're building far less. And that can have a really significant impact. But the other thing is running costs and the running impact of heating and cooling a small space, whether it's done mechanically or whether it's done passively, is a lot easier if you're sort of dealing with less. So I think all these things need to sort of come into our planning of a city and thinking about how our cities grow and densify well, and allow us to create sustainable outcomes. We put a lot of thought into this project and it was really iterative, and we did a lot of design revisions. And at the end of the day, the success sort of lies in how excited you are about the end product, and you know you've nailed it when you kind of just want to move in yourself.
I want to thank Ecovacs for sponsoring this episode. If you're unfamiliar with Ecovacs, they are the leading robotic vacuum brand. And I've been using their D-Bot X1 Omni, and it's been a game changer for our lives. Let me list just some of the amazing features. It can do both vacuuming and mopping. It has voice assistance. The Omni Station can empty the dustbin, refill the water. It uses pretty advanced technology to map out your home. It can recognize obstacles, and not to mention it looks beautiful. If you're familiar with the channel and me, you would know that I value good design that is functional but still has an aesthetic to it. And I love how clean and simple both the vacuum and station are, with an elegance that doesn't dominate our apartment. Instead, the minimalistic ideas and execution allows it to integrate beautifully and seamlessly. One feature I particularly love is being able to schedule cleaning. So at 9 AM every morning, Watson, we named our robot vacuum Watson, gets to work. So even though I might be editing away in the office, or maybe I'm out on a shoot, our apartment is still getting a good vacuum or mopping. This has been really handy as it helps to keep our apartment tidy on a day-to-day basis, especially since we have 2 bunnies, as Watson can pick up all the fur, small pieces of hay and poop without much effort on our end. Visit the link in my description to learn how the D-Bot X1 Omni is redefining the possibilities with robotic cleaning.